Hi guys, you're welcome back to Senator Kalesi and You, where we talk about life in Germany. We look at opportunities in Germany as regards study opportunities, work opportunities, and otherwise. And that is why the Senator is here today to discuss the me you find on the streets in Germany. So when you look at a group of people on the streets of Germany, I am referring to immigrants, you're going to find different sets of people. These people can actually be categorized into different groups, and the grouping of these people depends on several factors. And these very factors actually affect how these people live their lives in Germany. So if you're new to my channel, I will request that you subscribe, you watch my videos, comment on them, share, and also like them because people need this information to know how things are going here. Now, the first group of people you can find on the street is those who are living in the survival mode. When you say somebody is living in the survival mode, it means this person has lived through a constant or prolonged state of fight, flight, and freeze. What this actually means is that this person's brain has been stimulated to limits to the point that this person is just so focused about living now, not thinking so much about what is going to happen in the distant future. So the person's plans are condensed to focus on his life now, how he is going to survive now, not about the next moment. So he is prioritizing his present life and not about the future. That is a group of people you will find on the street. That is the me, an African me that you will find on the streets in Germany. Another group of people you're going to find on the street of Germany is the successful people. The successful people. And remember that I'm talking about immigrants here. When you find people who are successful or people who are focused on success, these persons are particularly interested in learning the laws. They're interested in understanding how the state functions. They are interested in understanding how business is done here, how work is done, and they want to succeed. And as a result, they are actually succeeding. That is another group of immigrants or people that you find on the streets in Germany. And the third group, which we are going to talk a little more on, is the document chasers. The document chasers. These are a group of people that everything about them is to obtain a document. And when I talk about a document here, it could be a permanent residence or a passport. So all their lives, everything they are doing is to chase after this document. And they can actually do anything to get the document. That might sound funny, right? But that is the reality out here, because to these people, a document is everything. Sometimes they do not even have a plan or what they are going to do after they obtain this document, but they are so focused on getting this document. I am not in any way saying that trying to get documents is wrong. No, that is not the point, because it is actually important to have the legal documents to reside wherever you are. But if you become a document chaser, it means anything about you is about the document. It is not even about you succeeding. It is not even about you living the life that you thought you could live. But that is the me you will find on the street. The immigrant me. And we can begin to shift this narrative in the way we approach things if we decide to shift in the direction of not only surviving, but succeeding wherever we are, or in Germany, as the case may be. And when you get this passport, when you get this paper or this booklet, nothing is going to change overnight if you don't plan your life. That is the one thing that you should understand here, that a lot of work has to be done when you get this passport. The question I should be asking myself, if I am that me on the street, is what actually changes when I get this document? Is there something that is going to just suddenly happen so much such that I become a new person? That is not always actually the case. But so many people live their lives, especially these document chasers, thinking that immediately they get this document, their lives are going to be suddenly transformed and they will become new persons. But that is not the reality. Things will still stay the same. And many people who feel this way, they miss the goal of developing themselves, of living the life they could live and enjoying it, but focusing on getting a piece of paper. When you get this booklet, when you get this document, remember that your accent is not going to change. You're not suddenly going to become a new person. You will still receive the question, where are you from? And remember that your habits are not also going to change suddenly because you've gotten a German passport. But you will still feel like the same African boy or African man. In my own case, I will still feel like the same Cameroonian who is living in Germany. So, like I mentioned before, it is not just about getting a document, but about living your life, because no big change is going to happen after you receive the document if you don't plan your life. But then this document is very important and it's good and it's nice to think of having it, because it is going to also help you to be able to achieve certain things in life. Personally, I found out that after getting this document, not so many things changed about me. Some of the benefits that I can mention here, and I'm going to cite just two of them, is the fact that I didn't have to deal with the Foreign Office, the Ausländerbehörde again, like I used to do before. That is an advantage to you who gets this document. But then, as important as it is, it doesn't mean that you should spend your life so fixated on this document than trying to develop yourself and live. In fact, when you develop yourself to a certain point, at the time you're getting this document, it is just a plus to you and you feel even better than if you were just chasing the document to get it and that was all about you. So we should begin to change our minds in the way we look at things. And now the other thing, the other advantage that you can get after receiving this document, when you get a German passport, is that you have that work freedom. In changing your job, you don't need to write to the Foreign Office again and ask for permission. Or if you want to start a business, you don't need the state permission again to be able to start a business of your own. Those are the advantages, practical advantages that you can get from receiving this document, which is a plus to you. Remember, I said it is not wrong to be looking forward to getting this document, but the only issue there is if you just so focus on getting this document, then you're going to miss the mark. Despite these freedoms, you are still going to feel like the same person from your home country. I still feel like the Cameroonian who I was born as. Nothing drastically changes. So my best advice to you is, wherever you find yourself, live your life, develop yourself, and don't be that person who is just so focused on getting a document or who is just trying to survive without thinking of how life is going to be in the future. Because if you get, like I said, if you get this document without developing yourself, it will still not make any difference in your life. Because the person who gets a German passport and has already developed the mind of doing a business here will be at an advantage than the person who was just so focused on getting the document without even making a plan of what is going to happen after getting the document. Thank you for following today's episode on Senator Kelesi and you. Keep subscribing to my channel and also keep commenting. Thank you very much.